I throw the net far and wide to find people that I've either worked with or have admired. And so as I transition to our next guest, I start with someone who I only met recently and had admired from afar. She had worked with a very dear friend of mine, Hank Azaria, in a wonderful show on Showtime called Huff, which was very special and didn't find it a big enough audience, or whatever the reasons were for it not lasting. But she first caught my eye on that show, and then Sam Levine, who, of course, if we want to cut to Sammy sitting there, just to remind folks, you know, that he's there in spirit and supportive, turned me on to this incredible thing that takes place. There he is.
Wave him for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that I will talk to my next guest about, and I'm very curious, as a lot of you are, as we can tell by a lot of the tweets that I received over the last several weeks. Once I mentioned that she was going to be joining us, actually only the last week, since I ran into her and I asked her, and she instantly said yes. A lot of curiosity, and I'm very excited. So let's just go ahead and jump in. Paget Brewster, thank you very much, honestly. I also want to mention, would you like some fresh water?
I'm keeping the Oscar water.
Yeah, you okay?
Just in case I run out.
I don't, I've got more down
Does
here.
Does he have herpes?
No, well, he's got other things that we don't need. Here, give me your glass.
All right, that's his, that's
leave,
Macquarie's
yeah,
water.
That's the Oscar water. That makes sense.
Oscar
tell me the name of the show again at the M Bar.
The show at the M Bar is the Thrilling Adventures in Supernatural Suspense Hour that occurs the second Saturday of every month at M Bar in Hollywood.
That's when I first saw you perform live.
Ah.
And you've been with that particular company 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
Of doing that on the second Saturday of every month.
Mm-hmm.
The character that you've been doing recently with it, her name again?
I've been doing it the whole time.
That character?
Sadie Parker Nickerhouse Doyle. So, Sadie Doyle is a boozy, married, she and her husband drink a lot and they see ghosts.
And they see ghosts.
So Frank and Sadie.
When you found that particular voice, which I found the first time I went to the show to be the single most captivating aspect, the very first time I went, before I had an opportunity to get to know all the players, it was your choice of a musical rhythm that sometimes a voice takes on. We were discussing Christopher Walken earlier, who has one of the most obvious musical rhythms. Yeah. You created a musical rhythm for this particular character, and I've been wanting to ask you ever since, so forgive me this being the first one out of the chute.
Oh, no, please.
The conception, creation, and execution of this voice that you created for her.
Oh, thanks for all your kind words. It's just, it's a parody of 30s radio, so I knew I had to do and you know, she went too English for a while. Because my grandmother sort of rather talks like that.
Does she really?
A little bit, yeah, up in Maine. Yeah, old New England, Mayflowery DAR stuff. So they were not a fan of my becoming an actress. But now the only way I can remember to do it is there was this weird commercial on TV 2 years ago. It was like a mashup of Audrey Hepburn selling jeans or something. And she says, "A girl wants to dance, a girl wants to dance." And that's the only way I can remember how to do Sadie. So I have to say it to myself before I go on stage. And she sort of mispronounces words like horse is horse. And a dinosaur is dinosaur. What is it? Sam Levine knows. He's in the show. He's heard all the, but it's really fun. And my parents were teachers, so growing up my brother and I were not allowed to watch TV. So we were allowed to listen to the radio. So we listened to Dark Shadows and all of the 30s radio shows that were played on the public radio station in Boston. So I think I had a knack for it to begin with.
Right.
By deprivation.
Yeah. Also, thank you, by the way, we're only 5 weeks old. You are our first female guest.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, well,
I'm a pioneer.
You are.
Thank you for asking me.
Well, thank you so much for, because, you know, I was asking female friends, actresses, and writers and directors, and for scheduling reasons, they're not available till May or June, and they'll be
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And I've been unbelievably frustrated by not having a woman guest. And so it really means an awful lot to me,
Thank
honestly.
you.
Aside from being a fan and the like.
Oh, that's nice.
So tell me about this Maine upbringing, and I'm forever curious about when the bug hits, when this is what I'm going to do with my life occurs.
Oh. My mom and dad were teachers at a boarding school in Massachusetts called Middlesex. My brother and I grew up in the dormitory there. My parents were, house parents for the dorm. It was all boys until 1977 when it went co-ed. They did not allow us to watch TV. We would watch Batman, the Adam West Batman, and Star Trek at my cousin's house.
That was it?
That was it.
So you got to...
We were allowed to watch 2 hours of TV Saturday night, and because I'm 2.5 years older than my brother, and we did a lot of fist fighting, I won Love Boat, then Fantasy Island. So it's remarkable he's not gay. And God knows I spent years wishing he would be, so I could dress him up. But we would watch Love Boat and Fantasy Island Saturday night, and that's it. And then sometimes we could watch Creature Double Feature on Sunday, so we would watch Godzilla and the Christopher Lee Dracula movies.
Nice.
But other than that, yeah, no TV. So
But Star Trek and Batman were the first two?
Star Trek and Batman were the only TV shows we were able to watch over at my cousin's house.
At your cousin's house.
Yes.
So clearly it was overacting leading men shows.
Really,
With
really
Adam
did
West
it for me.
and
Yeah,
Shatner,
yeah,
the
Shatner,
first two.
yeah. I wanted to be Spock. I thought that was
The logic of it?
I don't.
The stillness?
I don't know. He just appealed to me. Maybe it was the haircut. I don't know.
Why would a Jew have those eyebrows?
Maybe it was the mystery. Yeah, it was the mystery of it.
Uh-huh.
Chapow, and the whole, yeah, I really liked it.
So you're introduced to that world very slowly and by the spoon amount wise, and so take us from there to the moment where you decide this is something I want to do.
Oh, well, the bug hit. My brother was very cute, very, very cute little boy, and
Apparently would have looked better dressed up by you.
Yes, it would have been gorgeous. I was not. I was very underweight. I was very unhealthy. I was just teeth and a nose and these big knees, and found that performing I would get attention. So I made up characters. I made up something called the guacamole bird. I don't even know what that was.
I'm sorry. I'm going to need to ask more
Running around about the
guacamole bird.
I don't remember. I would jump from piece of furniture to piece of furniture, which wildly entertained my family. And then I auditioned for the town play. We grew up in Concord, Massachusetts. It's a small town. So the town would come out to audition for the play. And I remember auditioning for the play, and they made us improvise. And I was probably 6 or 7. And I should have done Guacamole Bird, but I really went for it with a Groucho Marx impression.
Sure.
The drama coach said, okay, you have a ring and you're selling it to Molly. And so Molly and I were standing there, and I started doing Groucho Marx, which I don't even know how I saw that. I must have been doing the Vlasic Pickle Bird, because I never watched the Marx Brothers, so I don't even know where that came from. And I was saying, buy the ring, it glitters, it glistens, it glows in the dark. And the whole room laughed. And it's that moment where it feels like gold love.
Yes.
And you just go,
You've been lifted off the ground.
That is what I need. And that was it.
Yeah.
So I hid my secret desire to act.
Right.
I got into...
so it happened right there in
it
that
happened
moment.
right there, and I did a lot of high school plays.
But I mean, you didn't tell anyone.
Didn't tell anyone. I knew I had to go to college, and I knew my parents wouldn't go for acting college. That's not. So I went to Parsons School of Design.
Right.
And dropped out twice. The second time to do Hurly Burly off Broadway with the Circle and the Square Theater, because they had lost their Darlene, and I lived in a welfare hotel on 23rd and Lex, George Washington. I'm sure you know where it is. And there, Phil lived in my building and asked me to audition. So that, yeah. And then I was cut off. They wouldn't talk to me. And then they came and saw the play, and my dad said, you're great. I was wrong. You're talented. But by then I was, wanted to be punk rock. So I was like, I'm gonna do this on my own.
Right.
But I had a net. So I wasn't really that radical.
Right.
So I bartended and sang in bands.
Did you?
I thought it's better to act being Sting or Cher than to actually go to acting class.
That
It's a
makes
little-
all the sense in the
little backwards
world.
about it. Well, Sting had been Fade in Dune.
Right.
It was so great. Cher was in Silkwood, I think, at then. So I sang in terrible bands, terrible democratic, melodic punk.
At what age are we talking now?
This was 18 to 24
In New York.
in New York. Yeah, I
the
moved to
heart
San
of it.
Francisco in 24.
Yeah, this is what
In 1924, when I was 24, I moved to San Francisco.
That's my hometown, San Francisco.
Yes, it is.
And I uncovered this piece of news because when you moved there, I had been gone a few years. So I missed this show of yours.
Yes.
You did one of these. It was a talk show?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And you were 24 when you got to San
I was
Francisco.
24 when I got to San Francisco with my drummer, who I, of course, lived with and financially supported. But he made great posters. And so we moved to San Francisco to start another band. That's really important in a band. You gotta have good posters. So he made great posters. Couldn't get a job doing it, but that's okay. So we moved to San Francisco, started another band. I was bartending. Started going to acting school for the first time, and realized I don't wanna be in a band. This Cher thing is not panning out. Clearly, I thought I would have made my acting. I don't know what I was thinking. So we broke up. I was working at this bar called the Slow Club in Potrero Hill, and there was a guy who hung out at the bar who was a manager. I kept pestering him to manage me, and he finally said, "Okay, I'll send you on 3 meetings. You get a job, I'll be your manager. You don't get a job, we're no harm, no foul. I can still come here, you're not mad."
So you took a little bit of the reins of your destiny by hitting this guy and said, I could use some
Yeah.
help. What's the matter with you?
I didn't know that he managed correspondents, anchor people, and hosts.
I see.
So I met with some people and they started talking about a talk show, and I was like, sure. Now this is in '94. Ricky Lake had made a fortune for Garth Ancier and
Right.
that whole King World and
Right.
Oprah, and so they were just discovering that somebody in their mid-20s could make a lot of money for a production company. So I met with some people at Fox, and then they flew me to New York when they were putting together FX, and then I met with someone else from Paramount, and they flew me down here from living in San Francisco. So I ended up I signed with Westinghouse, and we shot 65 shows, and we aired at 1:30 in the morning.
I'm sorry. It sounded like you said 1:30 in the morning.
Correct.
Because that makes sense.
No, yes, it's called a local late night development.
Yeah.
The entire show, 65 episodes, cost about $1 million, which is half of what one episode of episodic television costs.
Yeah, clearly.
So they aired it at 1:30 in the morning so that I could learn how to host a talk show.
Fine for the first 20. 65 stayed
65.
at 1:30?
Yeah, yeah. No. Actually, our ratings were so good. We started airing them again at 1 a.m.
No.
Yes,
Well,
we really killed it.
there you did. And during that process, you found out that you loved it?
I did love it. I loved it, but it started to change. In 95, 96, that's when the Jerry Springer Show, people were getting into fistfights and their clothes were coming off, and so Westinghouse hired a couple of producers to try to produce that, and I just didn't want to see people fight. I didn't want to see, this man in his 70s who's upset his daughter's married a racist, and the racist is going to pop the old guy if I come up, so I would run up on stage and put my leg on the chair arm between them.
Of course.
So that they wouldn't.
How
'cause I
else would you
bounced.
stop them?
I was a bouncer in San Francisco and New York when I was bartending, because a woman will stop a fight before a guy will. If a guy jumps in there, now there's 3, the 2 guys who want to fight, but if a woman runs in, both guys get to go, oh, thank God, okay, I don't have to have the fight, I can't punch the lady in the face. So I wouldn't allow fighting. And
Right.
Westinghouse bought CBS. CBS brought in their own slate of shows to promote,
Right.
and I moved to Los Angeles and got an agent who represented actresses.
Now, so you're 26, 27?
26 here, yeah.
Right. So from the age of 6, when you get your first laugh in front of an
It took me
audience,
20 years.
20 years later, you're
To get a
allowed to
job.
say, I'm going to be an actor full time. I mean, you had that moment, of course, in New York with Hurly Burly. Was that the only off-Broadway production you did? You couldn't have been.
No, it was.
Was it?
It was. I did some NYU thesis films. Everyone's looking for people, but I hadn't gone to acting school. I didn't study in New York.
I'm not at all proud to admit that I've never attended an acting class either. I mean, I'm really not. I don't say it as, and look at me now kind of thing. It's not something I'm terribly proud of, but because I came up through stand-up comedy, I sort of found a comfort zone in front of a room of strangers.
Well, that's the fearlessness that acting
Yeah.
class is going to teach you.
Right.
And I don't think I have the courage to do stand-up. I've thought about it, like just to try it, just an open mic, just to see
Oh, you'd crush
if I
it.
have the balls to do that.
You'd
Because
crush
it's
it.
so, I don't think so, I don't know.
Really?
But I think that's remarkable that
Is
you're
it-
able to say you wish you had done it, even though you got.
Yeah, I would have, well, for the same reasons that I'm not terribly proud that I am a college dropout. I would have enjoyed
me too.
the
It's-
camaraderie and also the education that would have come from those years. I chose the school of hard knocks at a very young age when maybe I shouldn't have been making those life decisions.
But you don't regret where you are now.
No,
I mean,
no.
I understand the feeling because I feel woefully undereducated in politics, world history,
Yeah.
geography, and I wonder if I would feel that way if I'd graduated college, and
Yeah.
yet everything I did, I couldn't have done a talk show if I hadn't bartended. I couldn't have started acting if I hadn't done a talk show. I mean, it is.
Yeah,
you
there's
know,
no regrets.
If the butterfly.
Yeah, no, there's no regrets. Yeah, I mean there really isn't. And people, even when they ask if there are certain roles that you turned down that you later regret, and I remember the Kirk Douglas quote that I love, which was, this was well into his wildly successful career, and he said, "Well, I did the math on this, and I realized that if I had taken all the films that I turned down and turned down all the films that I have taken, do you know where I would be? Right here. Right here, having this conversation with you. There's no difference, you know. There really isn't. It's the path that you choose. There's no correct way to do any of this. The only correct way is just the way you do it, the way you end up doing it.
Oh, good. I like that. That's good.
I mean, it's not a, you know, pass-fail thing, life. And that,
No, it's every day.
yeah. Yeah, you try to pass along that it's, you know, all those supposed cliches about it's not the destination, it's the journey, but they're so damn true.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't, I mean, there is no means to an end. It's just the means, really. I think, you know, there is.
So that's why you should do stand-up at some point.
Oh, just to see it, I just think
Is
it's
it
the
the
most
not-
courageous thing you can do.
But is it
more
the
than
not,
dance,
not
more than
written
acting.
words? Is that what or the ensemble? What part of it? Because
You're
you stand
utterly
in fr-
alone. You are utterly yourself.
But you've
you
done
are
a
ultimately
monologue.
telling the truth.
I'm sure you've done a monologue.
That's not my truth.
Right.
I can hide behind, I didn't write this.
Right.
I didn't direct it.
Right.
I didn't pick these clothes. I mean, there's acting is, not that it's easy, but there's a
different-
courage, there's a fearlessness involved in stand-up that is not. And if you can do that, you can act.
Not true. And here's
Oh,
why.
come on, really?
Well, you have the courage to, certainly, which
but
I
maybe
think
some
might have
people
been
don't
your...
have the gift.
No, it's not the gift. It's actually, I mean, I not only didn't go to college and didn't go to acting class, I also didn't study on how to be a talk show host, so I'm going to interrupt you.
Oh.
Because I want your opinion on this. Some of the stand-ups who I see acting in movies who clearly are not so great, and my theory is that stand-up is not about listening and acting's all about listening.
Oh, that's really interesting. That's a very good point.
Stand-up can hear an audience, but they're not listening. They're talking, and when they're talking, they're also thinking about what they're going to say next. It doesn't stop. So they can, if something's thrown out from the audience, they can react on the moment and be in the moment. But otherwise, it's a performance. And it isn't until you find your voice that you can really slow down and relax and talk to an audience. And get, I've only just recently, damn near 30 years of doing it, gotten to a point where I can actually talk to an audience and tell stories and not have to worry about when's the joke, when's the
Right,
joke.
is there a bit?
There's a clock, there's a ticking clock, where's the punchline?
Yeah, I watched Paul F. Tompkins do that. I watched him develop over
Yeah.
9 years into a guy that is so expositionally funny
Right.
and can just go on. And it's extraordinary.
Yes. Yeah, that it is extraordinary, and so very few I think can do that, and then also
And listen. That's a good point.
Yeah. So I wanted your take on that.
I hadn't even thought of it, but I think you're absolutely right.
So you didn't have any acting classes. You learned on the fly through auditions, because that's how I learned.
Well, I studied acting in San Francisco for,
you did?
for those
ACT?
3 years that I was there. No, I was at Gene Shelton's Actors Lab.
Of course.
On,
What?
On Bush Street.
What does that mean?
Bush and Jones.
All right.
No, it was a method-y New York, and it was, scripts, scene study, script analysis, and...
Do you do the method now? Does it stay with you?
Honestly, I don't know what the method is. It's, I guess I took from it what worked. And I had a great teacher. Her son, Chris Phillips, I was in a class, and I think I'd been there 2 years, and I did a monologue. And he was like, okay, all right, stop. And he goes, okay. He goes, look, you're very natural. You're not bad to look at. You seem pretty comfortable. You'll probably get work, but you're not acting. You're not acting at all. He said, you don't have the guts. So if you want to learn how to act, you'll do what I've already told you, and you'll really invest, and you'll consider this important, and you'll care about it and not hide behind how comfortable you are. And I was devastated, and I went home and I studied, and I came back and I did a monologue, and it was a funny monologue. It was
Right.
a Christopher Durang monologue,
Oh,
which
wow.
when you do it for real, you're crying.
Yeah.
I wish I'd been killed when I was a fetus, is the beginning of the monologue, and it has to be done seriously. And I did it, I really did it, and the class is laughing, and I kind of stopped, and I was like, what? And he said, okay, stop. He was like, that's the first time you've acted. You're probably never going to do better than that, but at least you acted. Like, he kind of also took me apart, but he was like, that's it. I was like, I didn't expect the class to laugh. And he said, well, that's it. If it's true comedy, you have to be honest. It has to be true. It can't be, here comes I wish I'd been killed when I was a fetus. Like, that's not, it doesn't work. It's,
Although funny.
you know what I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
so it was a great actually it was a great acting school for me, and they
Sure
were
was.
great teachers. But I learned at least as much from improv classes here in LA as I did in script study and scene study in San Francisco, because I think improv teaches you that fearlessness that stand-ups have to build.
Absolutely.
And you also think at first, improv class, you think you're supposed to be funny. When I was 6 and I did the Groucho Marx, for a kid, it was probably kind of cute. As an adult, if you try to be funny, you're
dead. You're dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
You're terrible.
Yeah.
And so there you have to learn how to be honest, how to be truthful. This is what I did on the weekend, and it was embarrassing, and my feelings were hurt, and I cut my leg open, and what are you bringing?
Right.
And that was great too. I would advise anyone to take improv.
Which one did you?
I went to the Comedy Dojo in Santa Monica. I went to Bang
Oh yeah.
with Evan Gore and Dave Rosowski, and where else did I go? Oh geez, you know what? There's another one now. I've forgotten. I've just been working so much, Kevin. I haven't been in class in a long time.
People, please! It's been forever. Okay.
God, you're a really good interviewer. You're really, really good.
Because you're saying and talking about things that you weren't planning on talking about?
Well, you and I didn't plan anything, which
No, we
already
certainly
is,
didn't.
that's already ballsy. It's great, because, Kimmel, you do a pre-interview and he's got that card and
Well,
he doesn't know where he's going. You're just, there are people who cannot interview.
yeah,
And you're great.
Oh, stop. Here's the thing. Thank you. That's so true. No. What I set out to do was to have a conversation and no pre-interview. I've been around so long that I've now done all the talk shows, starting with Johnny Carson, which is the greatest thrill ride ever, but also Larry King and Merv Griffin and Tom Snyder and Charlie Rose, obviously. And what I found about Charlie and to a certain degree Tom, but Charlie for certain, and Larry King, by the way, also in the group, all of them. Charlie Rose was the only one who didn't do a pre-interview. The pre-interview is the worst. But for a comedian, the pre-interview is fine, because basically the conversation for the comedian who's doing the couch or the panel, the conversation for the comedian is what bits do you want to do?
Right. So you've got your
Literally,
2 minute,
tell
your
Johnny
3
to
minute.
ask me about skiing.
Yeah.
Have I ever? And then Johnny's was the master, of course, And then it later started to reveal itself because finally he just would say something. Now somebody told me. You probably heard this from Hank 100 times. Now somebody told me you like to ski. Is that right? But Charlie Rose is the only one who did no pre-interview. He actually did. Came from a journalism background, so he of course did research, and had actual burning questions from his place of curiosity. And so when the idea of doing this, that was really the goal, was never a pre-interview. If there's any clips they want to show, great, it's up to them. I'm not going to force anything. I've got to take them and open the door and see if they want to play. And
would you want to do this, like, would you be happy doing this every day of the week? Like doing a nightly talk show?
Doing it once a week.
Like a network?
We're 5 weeks old, and doing it once a week has just about killed me. In the sense
but
that...
you're probably doing a lot on your own. Although this is a very impressive setup, I gotta say. It's a little NASA-esque.
It is, you know...
It's really high-tech.
Let's show them again the crew camera angle.
Look at everybody.
Yeah. Oh, that's the...
Wait,
that's the
oh,
there we go.
look at that.
Yeah, they're running a spaceship. That's
but
right.
But it looks really cool.
The spaceship Pollak.
And everyone's very quiet.
Well, for the most part. You've been very good to keep your composure. There's been a couple of times where there was a little... listen. So we're 5 weeks old. We're finding our way. You're right. We are doing everything ourselves. So that's why it's so time-consuming. And I'm reaching out personally, as you bared witness, to gather the guests for the show, as opposed to hiring a talent coordinator and all of that stuff. So if there were all those things in place, then I don't know that it would feel the same way that it does. Because right now it's pretty magical in terms of what we're accomplishing for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so in fact, only after 2 episodes of this, a producer friend contacted me and said, I've got a deal at Showtime, do you, not to overstep bounds, but how about I finance and produce, bring the show over to cable? And I said, no.
Oh?
Well, because what we're doing here on the interwebs, this particular show doesn't exist. And the moment I go to broadcast television, I'm doing somebody else's show. I'm doing something that's already been done by somebody much better who's been doing it for a very, very long time.
How so? What do you mean?
I would bring whatever flavor I have, but there are 17 talk shows now on broadcast television. My thought is, while there are plenty of interview shows online, there aren't any like this particular one. And I feel like, quite honestly, the community that exists online is about as exciting to me personally, almost to the point of rebirth, as I'm starting to find out more and more about that community.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask you, actually, about webisodes, because the original content online seemed to really be born out of the Writers Guild strike on a much bigger scale. Right when the studios were negotiating with writers, saying that we don't know if there's money to be made, well, the writers went out and showed you what original content online can look like and how great it can be. And it didn't dissipate when the strike ended. My ride's here, I gotta go. What happened was, all these wonderful writers found a freedom. And that's why, along with that freedom, a community. In about 3 weeks, I'm having on Felicia Day, who's a struggling actress who then created and stars in The Guild, which is an online comedy of webisodes that is a sensation with over 9 million viewers. And I mean, it's remarkable, the community that gathered. The first season, I'll find out more about it when she's here, funded by the audience. She put out this message to the community. We don't have the money to make this series. If everyone wants to be a part of this, and donations started coming in. And that's how this, you know, so that is something that I have only recently found out about and want so very, very much to be a part of. And so those reasons are why I'm here.
Yeah. No, I think that's very exciting, because I think it's really ultimately kind of punk rock. If there are 4 corporations that own everything,
Right.
and we have to sign the contracts they give us, artistic, creative people are going to seep out of the cracks and create their own. And now we're in a position where we could shoot a movie and put it online, and 200,000 people could see it by the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's incredible control for the artist.
Right.
Is there a way to make money doing that, to make a living doing that, and to fund those projects by yourself?
Of course.
And I don't know where that's going to go, because, you know, right now we were threatened by, and continue to be threatened by, you know, our union and the producers saying, if you provide web content while I'm signed to CBS, I'll be fined or could be fired, because they're afraid of the degeneration of brand if
Right.
I go online.
Right. You're special to the network while they have you exclusively.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to appear on network shows, so I cannot be allowed to appear on the internet in a free downloadable movie.
Right.
Like that's going to, I don't think personally that would affect. It's not like Prince releasing 4 albums a year.
Right.
Me playing, you know, a fake spy in a webisode is not, I don't think is not
Fake
going to
spy?
hurt.
Is that what is in the works?
Yeah, I did 11 short films that are on the internet of where I played. It was like a parody of James Bond with a female spy.
And it's called?
Agent 15.
All right.
Yeah, they're all over. And that was
How
no
much
budget.
fun was that?
Oh, it was great.
Total freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. This was 4 or 5 years ago, and also there was something called ITV or Liquid TV or something, and they would pay all of us $1,000. Everyone was doing it. I think Dana Gould did them. I did them with Paul F. Tompkins and
Right.
Patton Oswalt. And there's so many people would do these couple-minute videos for as content for online companies, and they'd pay you $1,000.
Right.
So shooting little movies. One was Dear Drugs. It was like a guy writing a letter to drugs to tell them he was not going to do them anymore. It's silly things.
Yeah. Allowing the artist to be as creative as
Exactly, without having to answer to anybody, which is great about this. And I guess, you know, if you were to continue being online and do a network thing, I don't know. I mean, if you do this long enough that you create your world, and you can say to Showtime or HBO, there's going to be swearing, there's going to be clips, it's what I do, take it or leave it. It's up to you. I don't know if you need an audience of 10 million people before that becomes feasible.
My problem is the community that makes this show is left behind.
Why? Why would they have to be left behind?
Because I'll tell you, my experience thus far is that they're really, really, really excited about being a part of this community.
And being special.
And being absolutely special and exclusive to this exact community. And that's why people like Oprah were kind of thrown off YouTube. You know, she tried to kind of buy her way into YouTube.
Did she?
Well, in the sense that she found that there was this gigantic community there, and you could make these vlogs, and so she started buying her way onto the home page and the cover page, as I was told. This isn't breaking news.
Sorry, it is to me. I didn't know this.
All right. So within, I think, 36 or 48 hours, she had come and gone because everyone said, nope, this isn't real, you're not one of us, you're not welcome.
Was probably very slickly produced and expensive and not genuine.
Exactly. Yeah, there was no sounds of sirens.
My question is, how can you fund it?
Well,
how can you fund
every
doing
one of
this
these
show without compromise and completely self-generating?
Well, that's just it. Every one of them is an experiment. This is the latest experiment. The Felicia Day thing I mentioned, as it was explained to Jamie and myself, who took a meeting to talk about what is the next step. As it was explained to us, you know, if you want to retain ownership, then you have to be very selective as to who your sponsor is.
Correct.
Basically what's happening is what happened in television when it was born. This hour Milton Berle brought to you by Colgate.
Right.
So this show...
Or integrated advertising, which I am terrified about.
Well, that's where you have to be careful, yes. Yes.
Well, I've been told there can actually be dialogue written for a scripted series where I play an FBI agent on Criminal Minds, and I walk into the behavioral analysis unit and hold up a bag of McDonald's and say, McDonald's, I'm loving it.
In the middle of a scene?
In the middle of a scene.
That's not possible.
It's using the slogan and the product.
It's not enough to hold up the bag?
No.
The character
They want
eats
you
it?
to actually have the character say the slogan.
In a joke?
Yeah, in dialogue. This is integrated advertising. Already they can digitally superimpose product. Right now, I mean, you don't even need a green screen. Right now, this could be, in post, that could be Pepsi.
Absolutely.
That could be a box of Kotex in
What do you mean?
post.
What do you mean? Could be. That is Pepsi.
It's and that's out of our control. What if you're doing what if you're doing some serious work?
Right.
And now sitting next to you is a product that you don't endorse.
Right.
That you don't.
So while there's a chance to control the content and own the rights,
Yeah, you don't have to answer to anybody,
that's
right?
what we're
Because there is
attempting
no
to
way
do.
around it. The moment you
yeah. So in the case of Felicia Day, she had these big companies come to her and offer her tons of money for this show, The Guild, which they had made for coffee and donuts. And she had the wherewithal, because they all wanted to own it, the way networks and studios
Right.
do. That's what they do. And we all say, yes, of course. For the opportunity to work, you can own this, sir. Which is why Gabriel Byrne would like people to answer for
yeah.
the we cast. By the way, maybe I should have qualified that by saying that he's my champion and I...
No.
Yeah.
There's
Did that
nothing
come
wrong with
across?
what he was saying.
Nothing at
he
all.
signed a contract
Right.
that doesn't pay him, 15 years hence and continual. They're interviewing him. They probably don't pay you. Do they
No.
pay you to interview?
No.
You're promoting a product that you didn't get fairly paid for in the beginning.
And won't get any more.
Nothing against Mr. McQuarrie. I'm sure he did everything right. They're obviously still friends. There's nothing wrong with Gabriel Byrne being pissed off.
Oh yeah, no, and Chris is like us. He would be one of the plaintiffs.
They got it from him firsthand.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He got a trophy and a career, but
Yeah.
he had to hand over everything as well.
Okay, well, then I'm glad. Immediately when you say Showtime wants to meet with you to do this show,
Well,
first of all,
Showtime
I
doesn't
assume
even
it's
know.
going to be what you want to do.
Showtime doesn't even know I'm here. It was a producer who has a deal at
Okay.
Showtime that said, "Can I bring your show to Showtime?"
Yeah.
And we haven't really talked about it at great length, but the truth of the matter is, this is only special so far to me and to the community in this.
Because it's completely genuine.
Yeah.
And you don't have to sell anything, and you don't have to
and because it's
espouse the political views of Nabisco because they're your sponsor. Yeah, you're right. It's a big, big difference.
What do you mean? What's wrong with Nabisco?
Delicious cookies. That's what's wrong. Their cookies are too delicious. I'm an actress. I can't get enough.
Are there not Keebler elves on this table?
Isn't there something weird? Isn't there something Nazi connection with Nabisco or something? Anyway, is there? Can I be sued for that?
I'm going to say I hope so.
I'm not sure. I think
That
maybe
would be a wonderful story to break on our show. I am praying that you're right.
Or the Keebler elves. There was.
Well, they're definitely
something
Nazis. Who are we kidding?
Anti-gay or something. I can't remember. I thought there was some whisperings. Someone tweet. Someone find out if those elves are homophobic or something. That's what the online's for, right?
That's hilarious. It is. So, in fact, let's go to our audience who we've threatened to be a part of this each and every day, and that's all we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes. Because this is something, I'm so glad this person brought this up, and this is in green, is that the chat room? Talk to me.
Crew?
Okay, thanks. So from the chat room, from Kevin Pollak's chatshow.com, the last question came from twitter.com. This one comes from the chat room. Grim Tongueworm, good for you, asks about your experience doing photography for the website Suicide Girls.
Ah.
I also have that on my list.
Oh.
So thank you, Grim Tongueworm, for giving us,
Tongueworm.
yeah, giving us a little focus.
I was the staff photographer, the only photographer for a magazine called Barracuda Magazine, which is a 50s pinup magazine. Camera Club, 50s, no tats, no piercings, everything had to be hidden. And these girls are tatted. These girls are,
Yeah.
the pinup models. Did that for 5 years and just got tired of hiding tattoos.
Oh.
And
Wow.
a friend of mine, who's actually a secret person, I'm not allowed to say their name.
All right. We like that.
They own Suicide Girls, and they asked me, we've been friends for many, many years, and I think I asked that person if I could shoot girls for Suicide Girls.
The secret person owns Suicide Girls?
Correct.
So, to everyone who knows who owns Suicide Girls, that's no longer a secret.
People don't, though.
You're suggesting no one knows.
I have a secret friend.
That's delicious.
Crazy.
All right.
No.
Well, then I'll give you an option.
So I shot the what? No, what are my
The
options?
option is we go further with the Keeblers or Nazis, or you tell us who. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
All right. So
So I shot some naked girls for Suicide Girls, and it was great. And honestly, I haven't taken a picture in about 3 years because I've just been shooting the
Working
FBI stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. So
and
you
when-
also burn out. You believe it or not, actually, maybe just I think everyone burns out on shooting pinup. After a while, there's only so many things you can do with a beautiful naked girl to a heterosexual
That's where
woman.
you're wrong.
There's only so much I can do.
Sorry. Yeah.
I enjoyed it though. It was everything cliche. It was empowering and it was
Right.
sisters and it was fun. It was really fun. But I just haven't done it now in years.
And before that was the 50s
Before that was Barracuda Magazine for
Barracuda.
5 years.
And how did
yeah.
that come about? How did this start?
That came about, I took pictures of an illegal underground craps game in Los Angeles.
Tell me more.
It's, as far as I know, it no longer exists.
No, that's
Oh,
fine. How did you
and
come to take pictures of an underground secret crap game in
I
Los
knew
Angeles?
the person who built the craps table
All right.
many, many years ago. It was about 9, 10 years ago. So I took pictures of the craps game, and then Barracuda Magazine wrote a
So you're having a
story.
conversation with, I'm sure, another secret friend, and they say, I've built some craps tables, and there's a couple
No,
of
I watched the
underground
table
games.
get built. The table was built.
Okay, look at this beautiful table I've built, Paget. Paget says it's beautiful, it's fantastic. What are you going to do with it? Well, there's an underground game going on in Los Angeles.
No, this person pioneered the underground craps game. There was
Okay.
only one person carting their own craps table around Los Angeles.
And how does the conversation go to, would you mind coming along and taking some photographs?
No, I just asked. I asked the what is he
Secret
called?
Croupier?
Yeah, the croupier who
Right.
also built the table. I asked him, can I take pictures of
Right.
the people playing the craps game? And he said yes. And then I found out Barracuda was writing an article about them. They interviewed the croupier and the people who were playing, and I put black bars over all of their eyes on the proof sheet. And Barracuda Magazine ran those pictures and then asked me, hey, do you want to shoot
Wow.
pinup girls? And I
Wow.
said, sure, I'll try it. And the first shoot, I shot this girl, Jessica Dean, incredible model, never blinked, always perfect. That never happens. 9 hours I shot her, the poor thing. 9 hours!
Because you weren't sathfied, or you
I
were
just
insecure?
I wanted to do it right, and
Right.
of course I was doing George Harrell. I was doing the 40s glamour. I had a fur throw, and so 9 hours, the poor kid.
How fantastic, though.
I got it down to like 40 minutes on a Fuji with Nikon lenses towards the end. I was banging girls out everywhere. That
Easy.
sounds bad.
Easy.
Sorry.
Fuck's the matter with you? All right. At Martha_S, who is our Mel. Do you watch Flight of the Conchords?
Yes!
We have a Mel.
Wendy, is it Shaw? Wendy Shaw?
I'm going to
Wendy
say
Stahl?
Yes.
yes.
She's Wendy Shaw.
The actress who
I
plays
might
Mel.
be just about to meet her because she's going to do an American Dad, and I'm doing it too.
Oh, great. Yeah, I do.
Oh!
I do.
I
wanna talk to
love
you-
her.
I love her too.
Kristen.
We're not involved with her. We just have our own Mel. That is
Okay.
to say, the character she plays on Fly the Conchords
Oh, I see. Okay.
is the one
Lovely.
fan. I would like to
Super
have her
fan.
on the show, though, so you'll help facilitate that.
that'd
All right, so Martha_S, at Martha_S, is a twitter.com
Okay.
person. You've been in critical faves and then ultimately canceled shows.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a wildly successful show now.
That no one in Los Angeles has ever heard of.
You mean the industry?
Or
Is that what you mean
Chicago
by the
or
industry?
New York, yeah. Go ahead.
The country loves
I'm
you.
curious what the question is.
How does that play your expectation on Friends and the exposure that came with that? I mean, is there a connection? That makes no sense at all, the way I've read that. Sorry, give me a moment.
Okay.
Has been in critical faves, but ultimately canceled shows. How has your experience on Friends and the exposure that came with that?
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Friends was
Yeah.
the first high-profile gig I got. Really, I think it was the second job I got. I think
Right.
I had done one pilot, one terrible independent movie,
Right.
and then did 6 episodes on Friends. And that
Which-
sort of got me going. And then
Exploding.
I did. It was great. They were
Exposure.
very nice to me. I was very, very lucky. Then I did. Oh, and you know what? I beat George Clooney.
All right.
Like a dog. 16 pilots. I beat everyone, I think.
Shut up.
Yeah, they were calling me, until the Red Sox won, I was a show killer. I was the curse. John Cryer and I were considered accursed.
Well, now I had heard it about him, so I do know of what you speak. The show killer.
Show killers,
Put
yeah.
them
There were
in
a
the
few of us.
show
It was,
like it's your fault, and that's why the show.
right.
It's absurd.
Which is interesting,
But
though.
when it
That
starts
story
to
that
stack
McCarty was
up-
telling about going down the hallway and saying, you put this person, you know, in each show, and the show fails. So, you know, you get a name for it. But, what was I
So,
saying?
but if you get tagged by that, how could you possibly continue to work? Honestly, because I know a couple of guys, wildly talented, who walked away after doing 7 or 8 failed pilots because they didn't
Really?
understand the point.
Gotta go, gotta get up.
Well, no,
get
that
up.
I understand. You can never say die. It is a marathon, not a sprint. But if you're tagged and you hear about this and it becomes part of your awareness, she's a show killer. Well, if I'm running a studio, who else you got, is the question.
Oh, I did it for Andy Richter. That part, the show Andy Richter Controls the Universe, the part was written for me by Victor Fresco, with whom I had done the show Trouble with Normal. And,
Fans?
yeah. I had done a pilot. They weren't sure if it was going to go. I had done another pilot, so I was out. He hired someone else. They shot that pilot. The studio wanted someone else to play the woman part.
Right.
My pilot didn't go. Victor called me in, and I auditioned. I tested 3 times
For the Andy Richter show.
for the show. Yeah, for a part that had been written for me with the person I'd already worked with, and they kept telling, you know, they kept telling Andy Richter, who I'd known as a friend for a few years, and Victor were saying, please. They were flying in, you know, famous girls and bringing people in from New York, and I would just get up in a new dress and go do it again. And
How many times
because
you
I was a show killer. I tested 3 times.
Which is
Until-
absurd for a part that was written for you.
I don't mind. I'll audition for anything, because I don't want to be the person who doesn't audition and then gets fired. I'm very afraid of that.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever been hired and then you fired? Have you ever been fired?
No.
That's nice. Wow. It's coming now.
Thank you. Thanks for that
The internet's
fantastic.
gonna fire you.
That's fantastic.
Sorry,
I love that visual. Kevin, may we speak to you, please? It's like the South Park when the internet went out for the entire world and they just needed to reboot it. The internet calls me aside and says, you need to go away.
Do you need to talk to the
But I have
company
2 viewers.
psychiatrist?
It doesn't matter. You need to go away.
Oh, I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, it can happen.
Good. Okay, so the question,
yeah.
I think the question was about being on shows that were like Andy Richter
Yeah.
was very critically successful, like so critically successful that at work we would come in and be like, did you guys read the review? And
Right.
we're not really that good, right? We were all like, no, we're not that good.
Right.
It almost felt like the critics, it's long been my secret conspiracy theory, that the critics decide, you know what, we're all going to go for this one and this one, and we're all on board, it's the best shit on TV, and let's run with it. And the rest of these all go to hell.
Right.
And so a new show with incredible
Yeah.
reviews, and you go, nothing's that good. Give it a minute. Let's see what it becomes. So I've been on shows. The same thing with Huff. I loved Huff. I loved Andy Richter.
Yeah.
But the reviews that were good, you kind of go, oh,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So
Boy, I
those
know
shows
that
got
feeling.
canceled. They didn't have enough viewers, and they got canceled. Now I'm on a show that's, you know, in the top 10 every week. No one's heard of it here. It's like NCIS. It's that like bread and butter CBS show.
Right.
And you know, we're on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock, I think, or 10 o'clock, and we're up against every show they put up against us. We annihilate.
Yeah.
Shows that are nominated for Emmys and win. Shows that are advertised. And we are this donkey of a show. I mean, we're at the Disney Ranch eating, you know, hot dogs. No one's gotten a raise in 4 years. I don't know if there's even overtime. Like, we are just this dog of a show.
But you're in the top 10.
And we deliver every week. So they just keep cutting our budget. They're like, whoa, take another leg off that donkey. It'll still make it across the border. It's crazy. I had no idea. And like, shows with
Wow.
1/10 of the viewership have these fancy parties and people get paid a fortune, and all of us are like, what the fuck? Really? That's how it works?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm blushing. I said the F word. I said the F word on the internet. My phone. That's gonna be horrified.
My mother's going to be horrified.
I'm
She
sorry,
loves you to death.
McCartney said the F word.
No, my first female guest, and I got you.
Oh.
And I got you there. I got you there.
You did. And I'm going to be in so much trouble for saying that out loud.
How?
I'm supposed to, I do love my job. I don't want to be fired. I really don't. I love it. I love it. I make enough money. It beats bartending by
Right,
far. But,
right.
but I can't believe how loud I'm getting. I don't want to be fired.
I think, first of all, they'll never know that the show existed, so you don't have to worry about it.
no.
Yeah, they'll refuse to acknowledge
What if I
that,
punch you
that
in
we're
the
here.
face?
And make
That get
real
us on
news.
YouTube, and then people will.
Actually, it's on YouTube. If you go to...
No, I mean like one of those crazy 8 million hits in a day kind of.
Oh, sure.
You don't know. This
Sure.
could be huge.
Yeah,
You're a
I-
very good interviewer.
I'm wired electronically, so if you... I was going to say throw your water in my
I
face,
know.
but that might
Go
not...
short out.
Me dying would be strange. I'm just saying.
That
it'd
would be
strange.
that would be the end of the show.
Talk about a show killer. See what I did? All right. Should we give another question to a person online? Not if it's unless it's we got a.
Is it dirty?
Yes, it's not. is it-
Something dirty come through.
Well, I'm not seeing anything that hasn't already been talked about so far, because we talked about the late night TV show and the syndication and the Friends and the Andy Richter. It's coming? Scroll up, you idiot.
Oh,
They didn't say you idiot. That's how
great.
good they are. They're so sweet. Scroll up for Paget, really, because when I scroll up, I see a lot of Chris questions, people. Scroll up. All right, don't give up. You know what? I'm going to ask you a question, and while you're answering, I'm going to sneak back to the lens. That
Okay,
shot
okay.
of me looking over must be pretty bad.
Wow.
Okay, so I want to talk about one of my favorite shows on television that you're involved in, or maybe you just were involved in, which is Harvey Birdman.
Oh, I think we're done.
Are you?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh.
We did voices for another pilot that they wrote though.
Same guys?
Eric Richter. Yeah, and Michael. What's Michael's last name? Yeah, Harvey Birdman was great. That was a lot of fun. I played Bird Girl.
Yeah, so
Oh,
talk
that's a
about
great
that,
series.
please. Because I know the voices from watching you at M-Bar and
You've essentially just been hearing Bird Girl just now. When I get really hyperbolic and
That's
I get
Bird Girl?
Yeah, it's Bird Girl's father doesn't know he's her father and he's hitting on her, and so she's always kind of trying to run away from her father and not get hit on, and she's just very gung-ho and very excited and also I have the ability, I think because my dad taught English, I can be really articulate and really fast. Not like that super fast guy with the bug eyes who was in commercials like 15 years ago. That guy's really fast, much faster.
John Machida.
Nice, so the character actor guy.
Sam
knows
Levine.
everything. Not Sam knows every character actor name.
You know, did you show a shot of Sam sitting there nodding
Look
yes?
at him. Yeah, he knows.
For God's sakes.
Look at him. So cute. I love him. Oh, what? So yes, Bird Girl was fun. I hope to do another one.
And American Dad as well.
American Dad, I'm doing one tomorrow.
Oh, really?
I love them.
Same
They just
character?
call me. No, I do the accents and the robots.
Really?
So I do German, Russian, robot. Did Angelina Jolie once, which was not even like I didn't even do anything.
No, gonna need a
What do
little
you?
bit
I don't
of
know
that.
how to do that. I don't.
You,
Anyway,
you just threw something out and they said perfect.
I just was kind of husky and I don't know. And then I did English. I think I was Thundercat, so I had to study Arabic. And you get the thing, you get the DVD from Sam French. You must have done this, where you're driving around in your car and it says "kalip, kalop, galip, galop." you're just repeating.
What are you talking about?
Are you saying that you are a completely natural mimic?
I've never studied
Like-
audio or videotape.
So you're an
it's
auditory eidetic.
All right.
That's crazy.
Somebody write that down. I'd like to be called
You
that
have an
from now
auditory
on.
eidetic memory.
Yeah, it's a bit of a Zelig thing. It started when I was about 5 or
Wow.
6. I would walk out of seeing a movie, and I was just one of the people in the film. That's how it all kind of started, which was absolutely delightful for my mother for about 20 minutes. But it lasted 2 days, so it really became a problem. And she didn't scold me for it, but she made it clear that maybe I should stop. I would scare people. But
Wow.
And then there was a Zelig thing. If I hang around Irish people or English people, or
You start to pick it up.
I actually can't control talking like them. So there's a little bit of an oddity going on. Yeah, and so
Wow, that's...
so I had to learn. The only time, I guess, little known fact, I'm in the movie The Right Stuff because I was in San Francisco as a comedian, and they got an actor who looked exactly like Dwight D. Eisenhower but sounded like a fish. So they, Philip
You got the
Kaufman
job looping it?
put the net out, and somebody said, "Come on in and do Dwight D. Eisenhower," who was president, not before I was able to speak. So I said, "What does he sound like?" And they played a tape of him giving a speech, and in the end, it just sounded like a bad Clark Gable. The first American in space, not going to be a chimpanzee. I'd never heard Dwight D. Eisenhower until I got that tape. So that was really the only time that. But
Did you get the gig?
Well, it's in the movie, yeah. It's
Oh,
me.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
But here's one of the problems with the learning of the impression. I don't know why this reminded me of this, and maybe I shouldn't.
No,
Let's go to it. Well,
no,
because
no.
it shouldn't be dominating. This is your interview. Dana Carvey got Saturday Night Live. We were both
Yeah.
doing stand-up comedy in San Francisco. 6 months later, I got Avalon, and our careers went like this. And he became the cover of Rolling Stone, unbelievably famous for doing these impressions, while I did these little impressions on movie sets.
Right.
And so he calls me and says, "I have to do Ross Perot this week for the first time." And I said, "Really? Any ideas?" And he said, "Well, they gave me a tape of him on Larry King, and right now it's just, Larry, can I finish? Can I finish, Larry?"
Yeah, that's all I said.
So we're talking on the phone, both doing Ross Perot back and forth, trying to find the musical rhythm of the voice. And by the end of the conversation, which was about an hour, we both did an absolutely flawless Ross Perot. And then I said, "Wait a second. You're going to go on Saturday Night Live in 3 days and become famous for doing Ross Perot. I'm fucked." All right.
That's rough.
That's all I had.
rough. I'm sorry.
No,
That's,
no.
no, that's got to be
We both
that's
laugh
a little,
about it. We both laugh about
Yeah, but that's a little tough. There
No,
must
so-
have been moments in your life where you thought,
it. Well, no, here's the tough.
that's the path I could have taken.
Here's the
and
tough part. The tough part is, if I do Ross Perot, they're going to say, "You're doing Dana Carvey's Ross."
and
That's
you
the
were
tough-
there for the formation of it. That's hideous.
We both found our own, was what happened.
Yeah, but you did it together on the phone, which means
The
you
economy
didn't-
is like peanut butter, see? If you feed it to a horse and he chews on it, it'll look like he's talking. Remember his great analogies that made no sense?
Yeah.
Sean from Maryland asks,
Yes.
Paget, do you enjoy voice acting more than regular acting? Now, this is very good because we talked about both. We talked about the restraints. We talked about the struggle of the regular acting. We talked about the playful and funness of the character. And so, honestly, if they paid the same, never seen.
If they paid the same and I had to pick one?
Never seen.
Oh, no! Wait, if they paid the same.
Yes.
I'm a lazy bitch. I'm going to go with voiceover.
All right.
No!
Ding, 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 ding,
Oh,
ding.
it's just so hard with the people pulling at your clothes and the poking you in the eyes and having to suck your stomach in and put your tits out. Voice, it's pure acting.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting and people are like, okay, now do it, but do it. And the people who direct or the writers are laughing and they're like, okay, okay, do it, okay, do it like you hate your mother. Click. And then you're like, oh, that is good. And so I would love to do that for a living. I would
my
love to.
God.
I would miss on-camera stuff. There's a lot of really, and I do love my show, and there's corpses walking around eating pizza,
Sure.
which is always awesome.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
that
would
shot
miss
in the
that.
movie where you'll see the Indian chief and army sergeant and Napoleon walking down the hallway in between the studio sound stages. That was
Paramount.
that visual.
I loved shooting.
Shooting on a lot.
Shot 3
Oh.
series on Paramount that all got canceled right away. But
Because you're the show killer.
Because that's when I was a show killer, yeah.
Right.
And you would see cyborgs eating in the commissary, and
Can't beat
it was
that.
just magic. Kid
Yeah.
from Massachusetts, like palm trees, cyborg, eating the Cobb salad. Woo! It was really exciting.
And now you see Seth MacFarlane in his underwear as he does the voice.
He may do that in private. I have not seen him in his underwear.
Ah.
I have not. That's all.
I thought I was hoping to
you pop
get-
in,
Right.
you do it,
You
you,
do your
pop out. So
part.
that's why I might not see Wendy Shaw. Wendy Shaw, right? Are you sure?
No.
Who's Wendy Shaw then?
We have IMDb. Can somebody please tell me who the wonderful actress is that plays Mel? We love her so. We have our own Mel. We keep
I thought it was
referencing
Wendy
it.
Shaw. Oh, jeez, man. Am
No,
I
no, let's-
insulting someone else? Am
No,
I
no.
saying the wrong name?
Well, until we
We think
continue
so,
to give
huh?
her this much time and energy and focus,
Sorry.
and then we talk more about it, and there's no such thing as bad press. Someone once.
Kristen Shaw. That's. Well, I don't know who this is. Who's recording them?
Let it go.
Wendy Shaw. I feel like I look up Wendy Shaw, will you? I think I know that. I think I've done a bad independent movie with her.
Someone is asking at Lissy, Lissy _ Curry, Kuri, would she ever want to guest host or host again? I'm assuming they mean
Oh, a talk show.
a talk show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So-
I really enjoyed it. I'm rusty,
Right.
but
So, like, for example, I'm going to the Cannes Film Festival with a movie called Middlemen that George Gallo wrote and directed, which I'm very excited about because I haven't actually been there since The Usual Suspects. And it's one of those things where you really want to go with a great film,
Yeah, yeah,
not...
yeah.
Because, you know, you've, I'm sure, been
I
to
went once
festivals...
with a film they were just trying to sell internationally because it had boobs in it. Like, just garbage. We were staying in like a Motel 6 3 towns over.
Right.
But it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, for example, because of that excitement that's coming up, I won't be here for my May 17th show, and you know the notion that maybe you want to guest host. Just put it
Yeah,
out.
I'll do it.
Really?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'd love to.
Wow.
I'd love to.
We have.
Oh, wow, all right.
So we've made history.
Seriously? I
we
like
have
that down in my
our
book.
we have our first winner. We have our first female guest. Now, I should probably mention that I have people that I have a partner who's sitting in the other room who we'll talk to after the show.
A secret person?
He's a secret person.
You have your own secret person and you were judging me for the secret owner of Suicide Girls?
No, his name is Jason Calcanis, and he owns the studio that we're sitting in
Okay,
now,
okay.
along with Mahalo Studio.
Mahalo!
Clap.
He's applauding. He loves the idea. No, everyone kind of said, you know, when you go to Canada, you're going to have a guest host. And to be honest with you, I don't know if you found this to be true when you were doing your show. The idea of having someone else do this was a terrible idea, because what happens is the instant fear sets in of what if they do a better
Right, yeah,
job?
but that can't-
What if they're brilliant? Would you like some more water?
Sure.
apparently we're not
so
quite
different.
done yet.
You're not risking anything.
Right, and you're. I'm not risking anything.
Look, I can't even sit up straight. You don't have anything to worry about. I should be only doing voiceovers now. A wreck.
Oh, you're. All right. I don't have any guests scheduled because we were going to do like
I'll
a
do
clip
what
show.
I can.
So you have to hire
Do
the
you
guests.
look? If you want to go to clip show, I totally understand.
Well, listen, we've gone on record for me asking you. We've gone on record for you saying yes.
Okay,
We will
we'll
announce
figure it
on
out
the
as we go.
website. We'll announce on the website what the final decision is. But I could not be more tickled that you had an instant yes.
I would love
That
to.
was awfully
I think
sweet.
this is so lovely. I think
And,
you've really
by
got
the
a good
way,
thing here.
thank you. But the future of this, in the large, giant, crazy plan, is maybe a little online network.
That's a great idea.
And the notion of you doing something on that network, like dabbling in your own talk show at that point, should you ever want to do a series of whatever you want to do. Like there's the guy, the geniuses, Acker and Blacker. You
Yeah.
know, they're talking about doing web episodes.
They generate so much content.
They're unbelievably
I have other
brilliant.
friends doing webisodes.
Right. So the idea is to create another home. There's a couple of other great homes out there people are well aware of.
You know,
Funny or Die.
together, I bet we have enough content
Easily.
with the people that we know.
Yeah.
What now? We just need some Richies.
Uh-huh.
What do we do?
Well, they're in the other room. It may involve some more photography. It may involve some boobies. I don't know. And by that, of course, I mean the models that you photograph.
all right,
Yeah.
all right.
I can't thank you enough for being here. Can you believe I know you waited so patiently, but that you were here for an hour as well? Does that surprise you?
I was doing this for an hour. This is great.
Right?
I really
feel like an
honestly
hour?
can't. Not at all. No.
Yeah.
But I do feel like do feel like you got me to say some things I would not have said otherwise.
Interesting.
And I think
but I didn't make you cry.
A gregreat gift. I don't have anything to cry about.
Good.
Really. Except maybe now CBS will fire me for saying they treat us like a donkey. And they've removed limbs.
Are you kidding? That was the best part of the interview.
Shit.
I cannot thank you enough. Because you were the second guest, we didn't have a chance to talk beforehand. So really, you may not know this, but there's a regular feature on the show, and my first guest got away scot-free. You may have heard some rumblings about it. I have all my guests do something called the Larry King game. So you're going to find out about it right now for the first time, and the viewers will bear with me as I re-explain. My better half, Jamie, who you've met, came up with this wonderful thing, and I did it on Conan O'Brien as a lark, as a game, as a bit. But Jamie got her hero, Tina Fey, did it on the show with me, and Conan did one. It's basically a parlor game that anyone can play because all it takes is a bad Larry King impression. So if you have a good one, it's no good. You got to have a bad one.
Okay.
The premise of the game is Larry King, God bless him, hell of a career, but he's 107. It's my belief that it's only a matter of time before he shares something about himself on the air that no one should know.
I bet you're right.
Yeah. So, when you do the Larry King, when you play Larry King game, when it's your turn, all right, it helps to be slightly intoxicated, I'm not going to lie. You do a bad Larry King impression, you reveal something about yourself on the air as Larry King, as if you're doing the show, and then you go to the phones. And the name of the city you go to, it helps if it's kind of funny sounding. I will give you an example of the whole thing.
Do please.
All right? And now, granted, this is going to test those improv skills because all the other guests found out about it before the show started, and that's what the apology is about.
Oh.
You're going to have 10 seconds.
Okie doke. Oh dear, what?
What's happening?
Mumbling.
Really? Because of all the teabag controversies?
No, because you said it like...
Oh, 16 times? All right, I'll give you one from earlier.
I thought you were in control of your content.
No, my head writer and better half just said, "You idiot, you can't possibly do this again." And she's right. So what I will do is I'll give you one that a viewer wrote in, and a copy of my CD, a little off the top, my live stand-up CD, which I will give you one as well. Do you have another one, hon? Do you want to forward it to me? All right. So this will give you a little more time to think of yours. Again, bad Larry King impression. Reveal something about yourself that really, honestly.
Is this supposed to be I reveal something about myself?
No, that's the fun.
Or
You're Larry King.
I'm Larry King saying something about Larry King.
Right. An example that a viewer wrote in is, I can identify any member of the Supreme Court with one lick of the taint. Angel Falls, Maine. You're on.
Oh, gosh, that's
right?
good. All right.
So here's another one from McCullum73. I'm guessing that's at McCullum73 from Twitter. At 92, Ernest Borgnine is still not a good-looking man. His colon, however, is also super smooth. Butte, Montana. Hello.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I don't know why that guy decided to pull in Ernest Borgnine, but clearly all bets are off. This guy went after licking the taint of the Supreme Court. So really you can go anywhere with it. Bad Larry King impression, reveal something, go to a city. If the city's funny sounding, it's great. If it's not, it's still great. Fire when ready. Take your time.
I've never done this. And I don't have enough forehead.
You don't have to look like him.
Oh, okay. I just want to sound like him?
Just
okay,
do the crazy voice. You can look like him if you start to get into it.
Stop it. Okay. And that's all the news that we have this evening from Kuala Lumpur. I do want to point out an episiotomy takes longer than you think. Kermit, Arizona.
Yeah!
Right?
Yeah, everybody, come on!
Oh, thanks, guys.
You managed to make us laugh and a little vomit in the throat. Because that's what that word does to men.
Kermit, Arizona.
Nice
I like
poll.
Kermit, Arizona. It's a nice Kermit.
Yeah, Kermit, Arizona. Yeah, nice poll. That was fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
So okay, you passed the test. You said yes to the thing that we'll see if we still want to do it. And you spent a lovely hour with us, and I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much.
And,
this is just great.
So you'll come back and you'll tell all your friends what a great time you had.
Yes. And if you ever need, if your guest ever gets arrested or stopped at the airport, I'll fill in.
All
I
right.
love this. I think this is outstanding.
And we got to about... Yeah. By the way, Eddie Izzard showed up wanting the gig too today. So no, so yes, please, of course. Well, I need you on my. For example, Sam will be in Newport Beach next week when John Hamm is here, and he won't be available if John Hamm.
You know what? John Hamm couldn't get arrested for a long time too. John Hamm, I think, was considered a show killer, and
Yeah.
thank God that guy finally got to show the world what he has.
Yeah.
He played my boyfriend in a pilot that died right away. You stick to it.
Yeah.
You can work.
Yeah, yeah. And his story is an awful exciting one, and I'm
He's
looking forward
great.
to it. Come back next Sunday and hang out.
Okay.
Yeah, please. No, but thank you very much. And now sit there awkwardly as I do my sign off. Okay. That was the part I didn't get to explain to Paget before the show. So there you have it. I want to thank both of my guests, of course, Chris McQuarrie, the writer of The Usual Suspects and Valkyrie and Way of the Gun. He wrote and directed. We never even got to that. Paget Brewster, of course, stars, I think it was every Wednesday night at 9 or 10. You check your local listings for Criminal Minds. We had Joe Montaigne on. He's in the archives. If you're watching this on iTunes, you missed it live, we're unbelievably grateful anytime you found us. As we discussed here this evening, we love the opportunity to do this for as long as you'll allow us and as long as you'll be a part of it with us. I want to thank the crew here who we've seen on camera a couple of times. First time we set up a crew camera. Jamie, Jason McIntyre, Alex, Dr. Chen, and Crude, who won't be with us for a couple of weeks, and Josh, and of course Sam and Julia. The whole list go down the line. Well, you know what? Did you get a chance to powder at all? Did you guys have time together?
Yeah.
Yeah? Could you powder me just a little bit? I would love them to see you. I don't think they saw you on camera. Please. Come over just a little bit, a little spot. Kate Shorter is the one credited in our credits. That's why I wanted to make sure that, at least, please, a little bit. Right, yes, right here. Nice. Thank you so much. Now look at the camera. Look at the camera. Say hello. Okay. All right. Nice. Thank you. And thank you very much. So thank you again for tuning in. And also, we mentioned Martha _S, who's our Mel, we call her, who's out there. There's a lot of people now that have become regulars. One of them has contributed much more than just a pair of eyes and a couple of great questions, and has become one of our team to help make the show possible. And he just arrived on motorcycle. And I did want to thank Gypsy Kinnear for all the input and help that he's offered, 100% free of charge, painstaking hours, and I didn't get a chance to thank him the first 4 shows. We're only 5 weeks old. We're going to get better. We might get worse. I asked the Twitter and the followers to write me a sign-off, something to say goodnight with each and every week. I got a couple of really great suggestions, but not the one that felt right. So, until I find that particular sign-off that feels like the one that I will say forever, I will simply say this. Thank you most sincerely for enjoying our show. Good night.